Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube. So today I thought I would do something a little bit different, and I thought I would do a little bit of a sit down and a chat video, essentially talk through how to basically build muscle, because I think as a female there's so much out there around fat loss and how to diet, and building muscle is the best bit. So I'm gonna do basically a sit down chat and explain how you go about building muscle and how to get the most from your training. So I've made some notes and I'm gonna talk through essentially how you do this. So point number one is you need to be progressing your training, okay? So you need to be applying progressive overload. So you've probably heard this a lot, but essentially you want to be training to failure. So it's really, really easy to go into the gym, and especially if you're fairly new to training, just stop when you reach 10 reps or when you reach 12 reps. But you need to be challenging your body. You need to be pushing past a place that is pushed before. So that is going to involve actually training to failure and training to the point where you cannot do any more reps. So don't just stop when you get to a certain number of reps. Stop when you cannot move that weight with good form. Training with good intensity. You need to be pushing yourself hard in the gym. What you want to be doing as well, just talking through how you can actually progress your training, is you want to be following a plan, okay? So that is super, super important. Don't just go in and wing your training and hope that you suddenly grow muscle, okay? You need to be following a plan and actually having something to progress with week on week so you can see that progress being made, okay? So following a plan, making sure you're actually applying good training intensity and training to failure, and not just stopping when you reach like 10 reps, for example. And also looking at how you can progress your training. So you basically want to be going in and either trying to add more weight to your training, increase the number of reps that you're able to lift, improve your form. So if you're improving your form, you are hitting the muscle more effectively. That muscle is going to be challenged more if your form is better. So, improving your form and also slowing down your tempo. So that basically increases time under tension, which is the time frame the muscle is contracted for. So 4 ways you can progress your training. It doesn't just have to be load on the bar. There are many more ways of progressing your training. Also remember with this that it's not necessarily going to be linear. You're not necessarily going to go in and see that progress week on week. You find that sometimes you're a bit stronger and sometimes you're a bit weaker, and that is okay as well. It's not going to be every single week things come up, and it may not be on all your lifts, it may just be on some of them. So essentially following a plan, training to failure, and making sure you are progressing with your training and you're not just going in and doing like random bits and bobs. So the second point, very important, is you need to be logging your training. I think this is like one of the most important things. Track what you are doing, okay? Write down your sessions, write down the weight you did, write down the reps you did, and aim to progress that kind of session to session. Again, like I just said, it's not necessarily going to be every set, every session, but over time generally, you should be finding yourself improving your form, able to perform the same weight with better form, for example, able to slow down a little bit, hitting more weight, hitting more reps across the board, because that is going to be applying that stimulus, which is going to challenge the muscle. It's going to mean that the muscle adapts, okay, to that stimulus and grows, okay? So that's what you're looking for. Repeat your sessions, get really, really good at those movements, get stronger at those movements, and stick with your sessions. Don't just go in the gym and do random bits and bobs from like your favorite Instagram influencer. Stick with your session, get strong at those lifts, and progress your training. Log your training, okay? Log your training. Point number 3 is going to be so we've looked at the training, we've looked at, following a plan, training hard, logging your training, progressing your training. Your food, okay? Food is important and yum. You need to be eating in a little bit of a calorie surplus. So I could literally go on for ages about this, but essentially you need to be eating enough calories to promote muscle growth. So if you are under eating and you're not eating enough protein, you're not going to build muscle very effectively, okay? If you are new to training, you can build a little bit of muscle in a slight deficit because it's brand new, but as you get more advanced and to get the best progress, you need to be fueling your body well. So, making sure you're eating enough calories, making sure you are eating enough protein, tracking your calories can be really, really, really helpful in terms of knowing how many calories you're actually eating. Are you eating enough for your goals? So eating in a little bit of a slight surplus can be massively, massively helpful. I do actually have info on how to structure your nutrition, how to go about with your calories in my free community group, which you can join. I will pop the link below to join, and it's in my Instagram as well, which is Leah_undivided. So yeah, free community, loads of info in there. So if you want to find out more, go and join that group. Also making sure that you're monitoring your progress and your weight isn't dropping, because ideally if you are in a surplus, you shouldn't be losing weight, okay? So if you are tracking your calories and you are either not getting stronger or your weight is dropping, then you need to be upping your calorie intake. So the goal essentially is to try and work your calorie intake up as high as you can. Try and fuel your training as best you can. And I think super important to remember, right? Building muscle is slow, it takes time, but you can lose fat relatively quickly and relatively easily. And yes, there may be a little bit of a body fat increase when you are eating in a surplus, but you are going to build so much more muscle from doing that and spending time doing that. You can then pull the body fat off later down the line. So food, make sure you're eating enough protein and calories. Okay, 4. Rest and recovery. Again, massively, massively underrated. You need to be resting because that is when the muscle grows. You are not going to grow if you are not getting enough rest and enough recovery. So, you know, you don't want to be going in the gym, kind of smashing the gym every single day and not recovering from that. You know, some of my girls will train 4 times a week and that's enough for them. They train hard, they grow, they recover well. That works really, really nicely. You are better off going into the gym and really, really pushing and having good quality sessions and doing less than you are going in maybe 5-6 days a week and your training quality and intensity suffering. You will make better progress from really being able to push those sessions and then getting enough rest. So everyone is slightly different, but you know, making sure you get enough sleep and also you're not overtraining, you're actually doing the right amount of training for you. That comes down to the volume in your sessions and also the number of days that you are actually training. Lastly, number 5 is consistency. Understand that this takes time. I'm actually going to put a little photo somewhere up here just to show the progress from when I competed in 2018 to 2022. Obviously, yes, it is a fair amount of time, but like I would not have noticed any of these results in a week or 2 weeks or overnight. You know, it didn't show week to week. It showed when I look back kind of 2-3 years down the line. That's when I was like, wow, like I've really made some good progress, because with building muscle, that is ultimately what is going to change and develop your physique, and it does take time and it takes patience. So I say this to my girls all the time, like when you are trying to build muscle, you need to actually move away from looking at your photos and looking at your weight. And this can be quite tough to do if you've come from a fat loss focus. When you are seeing those measurements change, you are seeing your weight change, you know, your photos change quite quickly, it can be quite tough to actually look at those same progress markers in the building phase and be like, oh, like they're not changing really now compared to what they were. And it can be quite mentally tough, I think. But what you need to do is pull away from those, focus on your performance in the gym. Like, how are your energy levels? Are you getting stronger? Are you feeling better in your gym sessions? Are your numbers going up? Because ultimately, that is what is going to lead to progress over time. Focusing on the process, you will look back over a long period of time and really notice a difference, but you are not going to see those differences week to week. So if you really want to build muscle and you want to develop your physique, you have to just stick with it. Obviously, yes, make sure you've got a good plan, make sure you've got the support you need, make sure you're really confident in what you're doing. But then ultimately, once you've got that in place, you need to just stick with it, get stronger, and really focus on the process versus the result. So they're my 5 tips in terms of how to build muscle and getting the most from this. Hopefully this has helped. If it has, I would love it if you could comment below. Please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed. If you find things like this helpful, or if there's anything else you would like me to talk about, please let me know. I'm trying to do more bits like this as well as like the more vloggy style stuff. So if there's anything else you'd like me to chat through, yeah, let me know and I will be back soon.